Ladies and gentlemen, Andy here and Imogen here. We're going
Hi.
to talk about group bondage and threesomes, how we combine BDSM and threesomes. This isn't necessarily the only way to do it, but this is sort of what we like to do and some sort of dynamics that we like to play with when we play with women together.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an insight into our sex life.
Fuck yeah. So, this is, like I said, the dynamic that we do with most of the girls that we sleep with. We have a few different dynamics that we like to play with, but probably the most fun one we do when we meet a new girl is we will often sort of focus on her a little bit more. And I have a threesome guide. I have a really in-depth like video course on how to have threesomes. You and I recorded it together.
Hmm.
And part of that course, or the start of that course, the tip that we give new people that are sort of getting into a threesome, especially if there's BDSM involved, is it's easier if you just sort of do what you do with normal sex, where it's just you and one person. You kind of focus on each other. And then the second person like assists you with that. So rather than saying, especially if you're a guy, oh my God, I have to please both women at the same time, I have to do a good job. Just sort of focus on one woman at a time and get the other woman to help you. And then you just switch.
Hmm.
That's what we do with every new girl. We focus on her the first time.
And I think for everybody involved, it can be nice to just have one focus. I think
Yeah,
especially for
it's
you
easier.
as the man, as the guy that's dominant, that's taking the lead, especially like in your case, it's easy to only have one person to focus on rather than trying to split your attention between two people.
Yeah, because I've had a few, and I realize not everyone is having threesomes and BDSM and shit like that. I understand this is quite a advanced, maybe you wouldn't use that word, but
Niche.
niche, niche thing that people get into. But I get quite a few coaching clients that say, hey, I'm about to have my first threesome. I'm really nervous. Obviously, I'm really fucking excited, but I'm really nervous. How do I do a good job? How do I have fun? And I say, just do what you normally do with sex, where you just focus on one woman and then get the other woman to be your assistant, get her to help. So that's what we do. And as for what it usually looks like the first time, we will sort of tie her up. We might use some ropes or a blindfold. We'll often use oil. We just use baby oil. We'll give her a massage. We'll play with her body. Often I like to sit behind them with my arms kind of wrapped around them.
Hmm.
Like, so they're sort of sitting in my lap facing away from me towards you. And then you will go down on her. You'll make her feel really good. And I'll be whispering dirty stuff in her ear. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I think that takes sort of the pressure off her and us, I guess. We just focus on one at a time.
Yeah, and it is kind of this nice little routine that we sometimes fall into where when we're meeting somebody new, it can be a really nice opportunity to focus on her, be a bit more sensual and slow. And I think what we really like is when she's blindfolded as well,
Yeah.
that often it'll give us a chance to be more intimate with one another and like look at each other and smile and
Yeah.
almost try and turn each other on by pleasuring the girl that's there.
Yeah, it becomes this cool, fun little like dance between you and I. And obviously, there's a third person, there's another woman there. But we really are trying to, I don't know if egg each other on is the right word, but you're right. It's almost like we're trying to tease each other. Like, I will watch what you're doing and then watch that she's getting turned on. And then that'll get me turned on because I'm turned on by her and I'm turned on by what
Hmm.
you're doing. So then I will do something extra filthy or extra kinky with her. I'll grab her around the throat and make her moan. And then that turns you on. And we're kind of almost like looking at each other, you and me, the entire time, using her to get really fucking turned on with each other.
Yeah. And I guess quick little caveat is that we are exclusively talking about a threesome dynamic with one guy and two girls.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's yeah,
And
that's all
again,
we're going to
this
cover.
this conversation was less of a guide of like how to have threesomes in BDSM. This was more like how we like to do it and what we enjoy. It's kind of like an inside look into our sex life, I guess.
Yeah.
And by the way, if any of you have any questions about sex life or anything, if there's any topics you want us to cover, because we had this conversation yesterday in the fucking bath, you and I was like, our sex life to us is just very fucking normal because we've been doing it for like 5 years
Mm.
and well 4.5 years. We've been together for 5.5 years. We've been doing this no, like maybe we've been whatever
Mm.
fucking a long time, and to us it's just normal.
Yeah.
Like the girl that we're seeing right now, it's just like we text her and we're like, hey, when are you free? You free this day? She comes over. We have a nice time. Hey, how's your week been? What have you been up to? Cool. Let's go into the bedroom. We go into the bedroom. We fuck the shit out of each other for several hours and have a great time. And it's amazing. It's incredibly hot. But like, it's so normal for us because we've been doing it for such a long time. I think sometimes we forget, and I get reminded when someone will ask questions about this shit like, dude, I want to do this, but I have no idea how to
Mm.
do this. we forget, like, oh yeah, like this was terrifying for us 5 years ago. And it was fucking weird and new, and like we had no idea what to do. So basically, if you have any questions about anything we do, our relationships, sex, dating other women, building intimacy and trust between the two of us, like all of that kind of stuff, handling jealousy, please leave a comment. Please, like, we'll be happy to talk about this shit. Anything to add after that big fucking ramble that I just went on?
Not especially.
What other stuff do we like to do? We obviously like to play with toys and vibrators and shit like that. I think the best mindset to go into like a threesome, if you're going to do BDSM as well, is like we said, less pressure on you as the dom if you're in the same dynamic that we are in, and just think of it more like as a chance to explore and try some stuff.
And so much of what we do when we're seeing somebody else together, it's the same stuff that we would do with one another, or the same stuff you'd do if you were meeting someone new. It's just connecting with one another and doing a lot of the same things. So something that we really like doing is we have a cupboard in the bedroom that's filled with all of the toys.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's somebody new that we're seeing, we'll ask them to go into the cupboard and they can pick out a few things that they like. And so they can feel more comfortable, especially I think when there are two people dominating them, it can be a little bit more intimidating.
Yeah, for sure.
And something that we come across, and this is kind of more general advice as to when we're having threesomes, but girls can be a bit nervous, especially when they're inexperienced with women. That tends to be the scenario that we see a lot, is that they're more comfortable having sex with a guy because they know that the guy can just fuck them for the most part. And
the guy will take the lead and do stuff. And
yeah, but I think with other women it can be a bit more complex. Maybe there's a perception that you're on like an equal playing field, and so you need to be expected to maybe give some of the pleasure and have more of an idea of or be more proactive in sex with another woman, I think might be the thought that other women are having.
There's a lot of pressure that a lot of women that come to us, and you did the same at the start. You put pressure on yourself. They put a lot of pressure on themselves. They're like, especially in those first few moments, when we've undressed them and maybe you're naked too, we're all kind of naked in the bed. And you can see them hesitating. And I will, especially with the inexperienced ones, I will just gently guide them and I'll ask them questions. So sometimes I tell them what to do, but I prefer to just ask them, would you like to try this? Because I find that sexier. I like them saying, yes, I really want that, rather than me just telling them what to do. And so I'll say, like, do you want to make out with Imogen? And they're always very, like, into it, but they're always so hesitant. And every time, especially if they've never gone down on a woman before, when I first say, like, would you like to try licking her pussy? They're always so hesitant, and they want to, but they're like, I'm so scared. Like, what do I do? And yeah, it's this pressure that a lot of women put on themselves, or at least the ones that we date have put on themselves, to do a good job. And they don't have that with guys, I don't think, as much.
And I think, funnily enough, it naturally leans into like a dominant submissive dynamic.
As in you being dominant with them and them being submissive?
As you being dominant and them being submissive.
Okay.
Because you are obviously taking a far gentler approach
Mm-hmm.
and being quite soft in the way that you are dominating, but you are directing, you are taking the lead.
100%. I'm in control for sure. Yeah.
And they are the one that is naturally being more submissive and listening and taking direction. And that it lends itself very well to BDSM, and then kind of just like amplifying those dynamics. And then once everyone gets a little bit more comfortable being a bit more passionate, a bit rougher, using toys. And I think when we first start, we definitely don't, it's rare unless a girl has expressed to us that she's very excited or confident with this stuff. We'll often just spend a while in the bed, like making out and being a bit more comfortable with one another, getting used to one another's bodies, getting hornier so that you're more excited, more relaxed for, it's not necessarily intense, but the more intense play.
Yeah, the first time especially for girls inexperienced, the first time that we sleep with a new girl, we tend to be quite chill, quite slow. If she's never fooled around with women before, I will let you guys just kind of mess around a little bit, make out, and I'll kind of just watch you. And I'll be like stroking her hair. I'll be telling her that she's a good girl. Lots of praise and lots of encouragement. With threesomes, but especially with BDSM, I would encourage all of you to encourage the people that you sleep with. And, you're doing a great job. This is really hot, like good girl, like that kind of stuff. Women, you can do the same thing too. Any guys that you're sleeping with, just say what's on your mind. Say, wow, you're so hot. Wow, I love when you do that. That feels so good. Like just little bits and pieces of encouragement so the person is more motivated to be even kinkier with you and enjoy more of that shit. But yeah, once you guys have sort of fooled around a little bit, we can talk about this in a second. We then do try some of the more kinkier stuff, and Ropes, blindfold, spanking, choking, hair pulling, edging, dirty
Yeah.
names, role play, etc.
I mean, we can go over a quick template of what we generally do because I think there is almost like a formula to it. Like, there is some, generally speaking, some sort of restraint or bondage, whether that's,
The first time you meet
yeah,
with a new girl. Yeah.
yeah, whether that's handcuffs or ropes or tape or a spreader bar, there's some sort of restraint. And then often it's teasing and playing with her body, focusing on her, because a lot of the time it is us dominating her
Yep.
using,
The first time, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
whips, paddles, vibrators, nipple clamps, wax.
Talking dirty as well. There's quite a bit of that if she's into that.
Yeah, it is restraint plus toys and teasing.
Yeah.
And then eventually that kind of leads to sex, which includes more teasing a lot of the time.
Would it be interesting for you guys and girls, the audience? You're not going to be able to respond, so let's just pretend you respond. Hey guys and girls, would you like us to give you a walkthrough of like a play-by-play of what we do with a new girl? Yes, Andy and Imogen, we'd love that. Okay, thank you so much. So they would love that. They've just said they would love that.
Like physically? Because we could record something with like me with
Nah, I
clothes
don't.
on. Is that too sexual for YouTube?
I don't know how YouTube will feel about that because I feel like we can just play it out, but we can't actually show. So I feel like we may as well just say it now. We can get one of the girls that we're seeing. She's come on the podcast before. She can talk about it, but basically, let's go through an average, and it changes depending on how we both feel, what we want to do. But let's just look at the average, the most consistent game plan that we do most of the time. I would say, we go on a date with a new girl. Maybe she's a little shy. She's usually inexperienced. She usually hasn't done a whole lot of BDSM, either none or she's tried just a few little bits and pieces. She usually doesn't have a lot of experience with women. Sometimes she does, but most of the girls that we date just don't have any experience and they want to learn. They're coming to us. They're very excited coming to us saying, oh my God, like, you guys are going to be in a safe environment. You're going to teach me BDSM. You're also going to teach me how to be good with women because that's a big draw of what we offer women. And it's one of the things they're the most excited for is like, you're very sweet and kind and you're not hyper dominant, but you're definitely mature in this, like in threesomes and BDSM. You know what you're doing and you can hold their hand and be quite sweet to them and quite gentle and teach them.
Yeah, little side kind of comment, but like over the years I've become a lot more confident with it.
Yeah, you were not confident at the start, obviously.
And I think generally speaking, women are curious about trying it, but as somebody who's kind of been in this position, it can be very hard as a girl to make a move on another girl in fear of it being perceived wrong. And I think
you have no idea how to even make that move.
Absolutely. And I think when we are so transparent about what we want, what we're doing,
what we offer, yeah,
it removes all of that fear and hesitation of like, can I kiss her? Is this okay? And so it gives a very easy opportunity to explore with another woman.
I think if you summed us up, like you and I as a couple and why women come to us, we are like a safe playground for women to experiment with. So that might be experimenting on her own bisexuality or bi-curiosity. Mm-hmm. It might be learning and playing around with some BDSM and learning that shit. For a lot of them, it's like, I've never had a threesome, and that's exciting. For a lot of them, I would love to get with a couple. There are quite a lot that like the fact that we're a couple. I'd say the girl that we're seeing right now likes that we're a couple. She's told all her family and friends, like, I'm seeing a couple. She's like she told her workmates and stuff as well. She likes the idea that we're a couple. Because especially in her case, she's probably the best example of it. Because you and I have been together for 5 years at this point, and we're not perfect, let's make that clear. But I think we have learned a metric shitload, a metric fuck ton of things about how to be in a relationship, maybe some things that don't work as well. I think we have put a lot of time and care and love and energy into growing the relationship. Like, it's been a main mission. It's probably been our number one mission, whether we've called it that or not. It has been a big mission of ours to like grow the intimacy, grow the affection, to be kinder to each other, to push each other with goals, like to build something.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of girls, especially like the one that we're seeing right now, they come to us or they enjoy the part of like, oh, I get to see what a relatively healthy relationship is like. Like I literally get to see, because we're quite open about that. We literally talk and we show them what we're doing as we do it.
And I think sometimes even with the girl that we are seeing, we've almost worked through problems together or like had conversations where we're trying to work on
and
a
we will
subject.
literally let them be privy to those conversations.
Yeah.
Like if something is bothering you, like about the relationship, for instance, or if you have a problem in the relationship that you're like, how do we solve this problem? We will have that conversation in front of other girls. And I will like have then a meta conversation with the girl and with you at the same time, where I will tell her literally what we're doing as we're doing it. So what I mean is you might say some problem, that you want to talk about or something. And we've made it so that both you and I are quite comfortable talking about stuff. Like we don't keep secrets and stuff like that. And so you might bring something up, or I might bring something up, and we'll start talking about it in front of the other girl. And then what I'll say is, okay, so like what I'm going to do, like I've just listened to everything Imogen said. Like I've tried to like be quite calm and just like let her say whatever she wants to say. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to ask her some questions and sort of get deeper in there, try and figure it out. And we'll have that conversation and then we'll talk about it. Like we've done, the work, the Byron Katie work, which is just a formula for like stepping through some of your limiting beliefs and problems that you're having and stuff. We've done that in front of her. And I've like explained at the end what I just did. And I've said like, okay, so that was the work. Literally, that's how we do the work. And then we've said to her like, hey, we're grateful that you sat there and listened to us doing the work. And she's texted us afterwards. There was one time when we were laying on the couch doing it. We were all kind of like laying on the couch.
Having a conversation about the fact that I wanted a rug in the living room and you did not.
Yeah. You wanted a rug in the living room. I didn't. And then we like discussed that. And we both did the work on it live, like right in front of her. And then at the end, we said to her like, okay, so that was the work. We've just gone through that. We both feel like we understand each other's point of view now, and we're now going to make a fucking decision. Yeah. Spoiler alert, we got a rug.
We did get a rug, except now I'm moving out, and you want to get rid of the rug.
Yeah, the rug doesn't stay when you move out.
The girl we're seeing is an advocate of the rug.
Fuck the rug.
She supports the rug.
My vote counts for 3.
Oh, can you make a community post on YouTube and ask them whether they like the rug?
They'll just
say
actually,
yes.
I don't know what they'll do. No, because the community, you guys and girls are pretty fucking honest. So I think they'll probably just tell the truth, whatever they feel.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, long deviation, long tangent there.
Yeah. Back to the play-by-play.
Well, before we finish that, women come to us basically for a lot of different things, and I think it's kind of an interesting playground that we've set up. And we were not like this at the start. Let's make that fucking clear. At the start, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing with 3somes or BDSM. It was just kind of like, fuck, what do we do?
Yeah.
We're at the point, because we've been together for 5 years, because we've done this so many times. I don't know how many women we've done this with at this point.
Quite a few.
50?
Really? I'm sure if we added it up, it might be more
like
than
a
I
year
think
or
it
two
is.
ago, it was like 30.
So really? Anyway, we're not keeping track, but it's quite a few.
And so we've gotten decent at this. So any of you who want to go down this same path, guys or girls, don't put pressure on yourself to just like be a safe playground for people, to offer them all this value and all these different things. Like, it takes time to build that shit. But yeah, to get back to the play-by-play. So the average girl, she doesn't have a lot of experience. She's coming to us to maybe learn about her body, learn about female on female sexuality, learn how to pleasure a woman. A lot of them literally come because they're like, I want to learn how to pleasure women. And Imogen will teach me, and Andy will, like, we both guide them through that kind of thing. Like, I literally will talk them through what to do. I'll be like, try licking her clit. Okay, go side to side. Go a little more gentle. Like, I literally tell, like, I'm right down there between your legs with her explaining, like a fucking science lesson. These are the sex education lessons that your teacher should have given you.
No, that's
definitely not. Very inappropriate.
A very hazardous subject.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, the best sex education is no sex education at all. Sex is bad. It's a fucking sin. I love when I get those YouTube comments on my channel. Sex is a sin against God. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure God's like up there banging all the angels, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure God's fucking...
Anyway, back to
smashing
the play-by-play of what we usually do.
Yep, so inexperienced girls.
We'll go on a first date.
Yep.
We usually just get a coffee because we don't drink. It's always
Well, I don't even get a coffee. You know why I never get a coffee?
Because we drink decaf.
No. But do you know why I never even get a decaf when we go on?
Because you're lactose sensitive.
And no. Like, why
it makes you cough.
Well, partly that, but like, why I wouldn't even get like an iced Americano?
Why?
Because I want to have nice fresh breath. Have you never noticed that I always get like a peppermint tea? Because I want my breath to smell minty fresh.
I just always carry gum.
Yeah, I could do that too. Anyway, we go on a first date. Like you said, it's usually pretty chill. It's almost always during the day because, like, we like to go to bed, like, fucking early. I like to be asleep by, like, 8:30, maybe 9. And we'll go on a date, first date, usually during the daytime, just kind of hang out. We go to the beach, we go to a park, we just chill. We'll talk about sex. We almost always talk about sex. We say, like, you know, what kind of stuff have you not done? What are you curious about? You know, what's on your bucket list? Are you nervous about trying this stuff? How can we help with that? We kind of just like talk about what we all want to do, what we're excited to try. We ask about her life. We talk for maybe, I don't know, an hour or two.
Yeah, and often, like, if we're really liking the person that we're seeing, we might hang out for a few hours. Like, if
Yeah.
we're just enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, we don't put any pressure on. We used to put so much pressure, and it was mostly coming from me.
Mm.
I used to put a lot of pressure on myself that, like, you have to fuck on the first date and you have to, like, invite her back and all of this kind of shit. And lots of my coaching clients do the same thing. They're like, I have to sleep with a girl on the first date, otherwise I'm a fucking loser dork. And it's like, no, man, like,
We could not.
you guys can just sleep together whenever you fucking want to sleep together. So we're a lot more chill about it now. We literally don't sleep with them on the first date because, and I did a video on this recently called Green Flags to Look Out For. We like a chance to just get to know them a little bit better and make sure there is like a connection and they're cool and, you know, like all of that kind of stuff, that they have some of the things we're looking for, that we're a good fit for them as well. So we kind of like them going away as well, because some girls will go away after the first date and then not see you again. Fucking awesome. That probably wasn't going to be a reliable girl who would like see you for long enough. She'd probably see you once or twice and then fuck off because she just demonstrated that.
Yeah.
So we love that we're the ones that leave.
Because what we prefer is seeing someone on an ongoing basis.
A little bit more, yeah.
We don't
Yep.
want to just have lots of casual hookups with lots of
We
different
did
girls.
that. We went through that phase. We had a lot of one night stands with women that we just, let's be honest, we didn't really screen for the things that we were looking, because we didn't know what we were looking for. We were both just quite happy to have sex, but we had quite a few in a row. Probably ended up having, I don't know, like 15 one night stands or something.
Yeah, just with people that we weren't necessarily compatible with, and
Yeah.
it was just sexual. And I think especially now, if someone is looking for just that casual sexual experience, they're probably not going to stick around long enough to have a date and then wait until the next one.
Yeah, so
And
we literally like when we have a date because we get a chance to see if they're going to stick around.
yeah,
Yeah. It's the same reason. There's a side tangent, but I see some guys getting a little bit frustrated when a woman has a rule in her head where she's like, I don't have sex on the first date. Like, I like to wait till the second date. I see a lot of guys that get frustrated by that, and it's like, I used to get frustrated by that too. And it's like, no, fucking power to her. I love that. It's her basically saying, are you the kind of person that will stick around and wait for 2 days? It's not even like she's saying, I only have sex on the 50th date. Yeah, fair enough. You might want to not wait 50 dates or marriage or something, but she's literally just saying, like, does this guy have is he at a stage in his life, and this isn't a value judgment, but is he at the stage in his life where he is chill enough to wait till the second date? If not, that's just not the person I want to hook up with, and it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's nothing against you if you want to have sex on the first date, just like there's nothing wrong with you if you want to have sex on the second or the third or the 10th date. Like, we all want sex at different paces. I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves. They're like, I have to do it on the first date or I'm a fucking loser. Women do the opposite too.
yeah, I'm
can't
not
have
allowed to
sex.
have sex.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have sex on the first date or I'm a fucking loser. So, yeah, back to the play-by-play. So we have a first date. Sometimes we do kiss on the first date, like every now and then.
If we feel like it.
Sometimes if we, yeah, you finish.
Especially with a lot of the dates that we go on now, a lot of the time it is like, do we feel like it? What are we in the mood for?
We just see what we fucking feel like and what she feels like, and sometimes we even just have that conversation.
Yeah, and we have like rough ideas of what we plan on doing, but that's super flexible.
We just chill and see what's happening in there, because we've kind of removed. Someone asked me in my coaching group, one of the guys in my coaching group asked me this question recently, where he said, Andy and Cam, you know, Cam being my other coach, one of my other coaches in the program, Andy and Cam, do you guys have like 100% abundance mentality now, or is there still a part of you that's like desperate to have sex and like trying to have sex and you want to have sex on the first date and all of that? And if you are like more abundance mentality and chill, like how did you get there? And yeah, I was like, no, there's like at this point 0% of my brain that like needs to have sex. It's like, I really don't need that. I eliminated that by having a lot of sex, by reminding myself that I don't need sex. A really good book on that is I Need Your Love. Is That True? By Byron Katie.
Playing devil's advocate, say there's a girl that we meet and she's super attractive, both our type, interesting, nice, get along with her really well, seems intelligent. Is there maybe not like 2% disappointment of like, and if she like ghosts after the first date?
Oh, yeah.
Of like that, I
we're
really
human,
wanted
but then
to.
you do the work on that. You sit there and you go, well, there's other women. What do I care? So, yeah, that's 2% is probably what it is. Yeah. Yeah. And that's just like falling back to like, hey, look, I've had enough abundance. The rest of my life is going amazing. That's another way you can get to that abundance mentality, is by just having a whole bunch of shit in your life that you're really happy with. It's really good. And if you don't have that shit, just start building it. It took me quite a while, but hobbies, friends, missions, goals, purposes, like shit like that. And so then you're not sitting there going, I need sex with this person right now. Basically, you want to get yourself to a point, or it's really nice to get to a point where you don't need anything from anyone. Because it's like my needs or my wants, my desires are met. If this girl sleeps with me, fucking amazing. If she doesn't, fucking amazing. I want her to go and sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with. Or sleep with nobody at all, if that's what she wants.
Back to the juicy stuff.
Yeah, back to the sex shit.
After the first date, second date.
Second date is usually like, we'll just invite them straight over. Because by that point, like, we've talked a bunch about sex and BDSM and threesomes and what she might want to try on the first date. And sometimes we've talked about it before the first date, but not usually. We usually save it for the actual date. We don't really like to text a whole bunch because it's not a person yet until you meet them. It's just text on a screen. And so they'll usually come over. Sometimes they ask the question of like, oh, what stuff are we going to do? But usually they don't. Usually they're just like, I already like you guys. You guys already like me. And we're very forthcoming with that. We will often on the first date literally just say like, I like you a lot. Like we'll just fucking say that. And they'll usually say, I like you guys too. And we're like, cool, we should like meet up again. This is fun. We can try some of the stuff that we talked about. We'll go slow and stuff, like no pressure. But do you want to try some of the stuff? And they're like, yes, I'd like that. And we're like, cool, sweet. Like, this was amazing. We'll shoot you a text or whatever. Like, yeah, we can't wait to see you. So it's like, it's very clear what's going on. And that's what I talk about when I talk about honesty. And that is a point that you get to. Like, you can be that honest from the start, but it took me a bit of practice. So second date, we've already had that discussion. They come over.
Mm-hmm.
If they're super nervous, often we'll just sit on the couch for a little bit and they'll just sit there fucking nervous as shit. And we've got lots of different things we do in that position. Like sometimes we will both just start caressing them and making them feel good. And then we'll start kissing and we'll just go really fucking slow. My favorite thing to do though is, especially if she's very nervous and inexperienced, I will just say like, would you like to try kissing Imogen? And they always like look down at the floor and they're all shy and adorable and they're like, yeah. And then like, I go, okay, well, she's right there. Like, would you like to try kissing her? And from that, I'll just kind of like lead them through it. I'll say, would you like to try touching Imogen's tits? And they're always like, yeah. And so I'll take their hand and just very gently put it on your tits. And the ones that are really inexperienced with women, like I basically have to handhold them like everything. I literally have to say, try pinching her nipples. Try to, like, they're really fucking nervous, especially the submissive girls. The ones that have more experience, it's kind of like, I just say, do you guys want to kiss? And we go straight to it.
Yeah, things go from there. We'll usually end up playing for a little bit, just like some heavy petting, I guess.
On the couch, yeah. Yeah, usually on the couch.
Yep. And then once we all get a bit too horny, we shift into the bedroom.
Yeah, and I'll either carry them into the bedroom. That's one fun thing. Sometimes I make you carry them because you're quite strong.
Yes,
So
but
you'll pick them up.
we've got a bit of, like, there's lots of, like, it's a narrow kind of hallway to get into the bedroom.
Oh, it's really hard to
so
get
there's
into
lots
the
of,
bedroom.
like, potential to hit on, like, doorknobs.
I try
and-
not to smash their head on the door
Door
and
frames
shit.
and
Yeah,
things
it's like a
like
really
that,
narrow fucking hallway leading to the bedroom. Yeah. So I have to go really gentle and slow. Sometimes we'll just take their hand and like lead them. That's fun. Sometimes I'll just throw them over my shoulder, like what's that called? The fireman's carry. Yeah, where you throw them over your shoulder and and then their bum's sticking out and I spank their bum. That's fun. But yeah, we go into the bedroom. We've got a red light.
It's purple at the moment.
Yeah. So we've got like a mood light in there. I've usually got music already playing. I like piano music. I also like spiritual music. Like you can just search for yoga music. Yoga music's pretty good. You can search for tantric music. Just some like you can search for chill. You could listen to chill study beats like cafe music.
Listen to
Something
whatever you
chill.
want for sex.
Yeah, yeah. Generally speaking, though, we like chill shit.
Chill.
Like we're probably not putting on like Linkin fucking Park
No.
or like Limp Bizkit or something. Look at me just like pulling out bands from the 90s and 2000s. But like
Showing
we're not
your
listening
age.
to like fucking heavy metal or some shit because that's
No.
just like
Not a vibe.
I want to try having sex to heavy metal. I don't think I ever
don't.
have. But anyway, we'll often fool around at that point. Like you said before, sometimes a blindfold. Usually we like to get them naked, blindfold them. Maybe we'll tie their hands up if they're, not too nervous. If they're super nervous, we don't do that. We just put a blindfold on them and go really fucking gentle. And we'll just ask everything we're doing. We're like, how does that feel? Is that good? Do you want it a bit rougher? And we just kind of like talk them through it. Because the ones that are really nervous, we've been with quite a few girls that are virgins, actually. I think like 10 girls that we've slept with have been virgins.
Not even close to that many.
I can list them right now.
You can list them after the podcast because there's names there.
Okay, we're going to pause and I'm going to count them. Okay, so we paused that we counted it is 5.
I'm correct.
Yeah, so it's not 10, it's 5. I think, as we discussed, it's because I've been with a lot of virgin girls, like a lot, and so I kind of get those mixed up. At 5, we've been with 5 girls who were bona fide fucking, or non-bona fide. They hadn't been
Had
boned yet
not had penetrative sex.
with a guy. Yeah. So 5 girls, and when they're like that, when they're like literally virgins, and even all the ones that we've been with, I'd say the majority of girls that we've been with are virgins when it comes to women. It's not really virginity, but like they've never been with a woman.
Sure.
That's the majority of women that we're with.
Sure.
And that's why I get kind of blurred, because I'm like,
I can't keep track of those.
yeah, they're basically like a virgin when we see them, because they're like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing with BDSM. I don't know what I'm doing with women. I've never had a threesome. I've never dated a couple. I'm really inexperienced. And so with them, we just go unbelievably slow.
Yeah.
Like really, like we often, if they're a virgin especially, we often don't have sex the first time. Like
And
some of these I'm thinking about.
okay, no, there's
we didn't
6.
have
I
sex.
remembered one more. Her
Did you?
name starts with P. And
Oh,
she-
yeah. How do we forget her?
I
We
know,
even
it's
did
like
a
the
podcast on
most
her. It's
notable
called the 23-year-old Virgin with a Heart of Gold. You can look that up on our channel. She had a broken ankle the first time we had sex, and so we had to go so unbelievably slow and carefully. I remember that. That was really fun too, because I was like, we can't do any positions other than missionary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that was really fun. She was a sweetie.
a lot of the time with the nervous girls, the sex isn't actually kinky. It's vanilla sex.
It's just really fucking slow and gentle. Yeah.
And we slowly work up to anything that's a bit more intense.
Yeah. And so we go super slow. We will often cover them in oil and give them a massage. We'll play with their I'll play with their tits. Like I said, I'll sit behind them, hugging them while you go down on them, and I'll whisper dirty shit in their ear. I'll be like, look how hot Imogen looks. Oh my God, she loves your pussy. That just drives them fucking crazy when we do that.
Very often we'll take turns, me going down on her and then her on me.
Yep.
When
Yep.
they're
And I will
inexperienced.
teach her.
Yeah,
I'll
with
get
women.
down there with her and tell her what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't have sex that first time. Like my dick doesn't go in them, especially if they're a virgin. We just go like, we'll fucking chill. Like some of these I can, her, I'm highlighting the ones now. I don't think we did with her. I don't know I can't remember there.
I remember, but it doesn't matter. The audience
So
doesn't
anyway,
care.
so about half of the virgin and a lot of the inexperienced girls we've been with, my dick doesn't go in them the first time because it just doesn't come up. It's like, hey, we're doing all this other shit. We want you to have a good time. We want you to go slow. So yeah, I think a lot of people, I've had a question quite a lot where guys go, I'm dating this virgin girl. We're about to sleep with each other the first time. This is the first time we've done anything sexual in the bedroom. How do I have sex? Like, what do I do? I want her to have fun. I don't want her to hurt. I want her to have a good time. What do I do? And I'm just like, save the fucking sex. Like see what you guys are a bit comfortable with. But even if like there's one girl who was an Asian girl that I can remember, took me like, I mean, it didn't take me. Like we took like 8 days before we had sex because she was just like fucking not ready to. She was like really tired. She was really inexperienced. She was really nervous and scared, and we just fucking took our time. So that's probably the best advice. But for girls that are a little bit more experienced, which we don't tend to date girls that are very experienced, like with BDSM and threesomes and women, we tend to prefer women that are a little bit less experienced that come to us to learn and grow and evolve and all of that. And so with the ones who have a little bit more experience, we just do whatever we feel like sometimes. And so that might just be we jump straight to sex and we blindfold her, we choke her, we spank her, all of that kind of stuff. But I'd say most of the dynamic is with less experienced girls and we go slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of fool around. If we have sex, we have sex. Maybe we can talk about what we do after. So then afterwards, we'll cuddle, we'll talk, we'll ask her how it was. If she wants to try anything else, we'll send her a text afterwards saying, hey, that was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. Let's talk about what we do when we've seen a girl quite a few times and we slept together and we're all comfortable with each other. She's getting experience with women now. She's not so nervous. Then we'll try a lot more of the kinky shit.
Yeah, and this is something that you've recommended many, many, many times across the years, but often we ask girls to write a sexual bucket list.
Yeah, of all the things she wants to try.
Basically so she can tell us what she's interested in, and it gives us a nice little list of things to do when we see her. And it makes things actually really easy because you don't have to think about like, oh, what should we try? Will she like that? It's like, no, let's just tick these off, try all of these. And obviously it's not like a one and done sort of thing. We'll often return to things or know that that's what they like, and often it can be a nice way to check in, like after we do play together, saying like, how was that? Trying that for the first time. Did you actually enjoy that? Or was it different to what you expected? How did it feel? Did it feel good?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice way to keep building and keep kind of connecting and having interesting sex as time goes on.
Yeah, and I think outside the bedroom, people might have questions of like, what do we do? Is that in this one, or are we doing that in a separate one? We were going to do a separate video. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a separate video, because we were going to do a separate video about like what our like relationships are like with women. Like, we had a whole bunch of questions that we'll answer, like, do we spend time outside of the bedroom? Do you hang out with them alone without me there? Do I hang out with them alone without you there? How do we handle jealousy? So we'll do a separate video with that kind of shit. But yeah, another thing that we like to do is we will tie her up and like fuck the shit out of her, and all of it will be the focus on her, and then we'll swap. I'll get her to help me, like, be my assistant to fuck you. Another thing that we've just started playing around with, and this has been on your bucket list for forever.
Yep.
We only just did this like quite recently, because I think you've only gotten to a point where you were comfortable doing this quite recently. I don't think you wanted to do this 2 years ago. Like, you wanted to, but I don't think you would have been comfortable with this.
And funnily enough, like 3 years ago, I had zero interest in this.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you can explain what it is.
Cut queening.
So what is cuck queening, and why does it sound like cuckolding, like a man who's a cuck?
Because it's the female version of cuckolding. So
So you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Imogen is a cuck. Leave comments below. Tell her she's a simp and a cuck.
Rather than a woman sleeping with another man, it's a man sleeping with another woman. And I guess, obviously, we were already doing this anyway, but the point is this, like, in the sexual dynamic, that I'm not having sex at all. I'm just watching.
Yeah, you're watching your man fuck another woman.
Yeah.
And that's like the fun.
Yeah.
And so we hadn't done it before because I don't think you would have been comfortable with it.
No, I think there was too much insecurity
Yeah.
in the relationship.
Yeah, 100%. Or insecurity in yourself, I'd say.
Both.
Yeah. And so we've worked through that, and it's been a process, like, which is why we say, like, you don't have to be perfect with relationships. You don't have to be perfect with jealousy or insecurity or body image issues or like all of this kind of shit. And open relationships, we'll make it clear here. We'll go on a slight side tangent. Open relationships aren't just like they're fucking amazing. I'm obviously, or we wouldn't be in one. But a lot of people, and we're going to do a separate video on this, quite a few people see an open relationship as like a solution to monogamy. They're like, oh, monogamy is difficult. Well, an open relationship is easier. And it's like,
it's more difficult.
Yeah. It requires more communication. I'd say it like that. I don't know that I'd say it's more difficult. I'd say it requires more trust, honesty, love, definitely more fucking patience. You literally have to set aside time, like in your calendar or just in your life, to talk. Whereas in monogamy, a lot of people are just like, I'm too busy to talk. Hey, honey, how was your day? Yeah, I was okay. Like, you can fucking have a marriage. It won't be a great marriage, but you can have a marriage for the rest of your life where you guys basically don't fucking talk. You can't do that with an open relationship. I just don't think it'll work.
Yeah, it requires more intention and conscious effort.
More building as well. I'd say you have to have a growth mindset for an open relationship. Otherwise, I think it'll be so easy to go off and grow with someone else.
Depending on the nature of the relationship. Yeah. Probably not in our scenario, but if it was a purely open...
But I think a big part of the reason why it's not in our scenario is because we've both declared, I want to build something with you. That was literally the conversation we had when we first decided to make it serious after like 9 months or a year or whatever it was. We said, I want to build with you and grow with you. Do you want that with me? Yes, I fucking do. Like, we intended to have a growth mindset and to build something and not build with other people.
Sure.
Where were we? Where the fuck were we in this
We talked about
conversation?
cut queening dynamics that we like trying.
We didn't finish
keeping
cut queening.
things interesting.
We didn't explain why you
Long-term.
like cut queening, why it's hot. We could do a whole video on this. We might, if you guys are interested. Like, why was it hot? So we did it for the first time the other day with the girl that we're seeing, and basically I spent the entire day just with her.
Yep.
And like, you were there. You were masturbating the entire day.
You guys were in bed having sex with one another, playing together, and I was, masturbating.
Watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell us why that was so hot. Why was that so hot?
I think I'm naturally more submissive by nature, and so there is a level of, and it is really in like a play fantasy sort of way, but a level of like degradation and humiliation, but like in a fun way, because
In a safe way, I'd say.
yeah, because as I said earlier, 3 years ago I wasn't comfortable with that because it would have felt bad,
Hurtful, yeah.
yeah. Whereas
Would have
now,
lowered your self-esteem.
because I feel so comfortable in the relationship with you that you're not going to just like leave me for some other woman that we sleep with together, it feels safe to have that like play humiliation, play degradation there. And also it is hot, like watching two people in pleasure.
Oh yeah, it's like a voyeuristic aspect, I guess.
Having really fun. And I think what adds to it, and I think what's important for me is that it's still sexual for me. I'm still getting off. I don't think I enjoy it as much if I'm literally just sitting and watching. I think I still want to be pleasuring myself because it adds to like the enjoyment of it. I'm literally
Yeah.
getting off. That feels good, and so it's going to make the whole situation feel good.
Yeah, you were right there next to us. Like you were literally in the bed next to us. It's
Mm.
not like you were like over in the corner, like sitting there just on a chair watching, going like, "Oh wow, I'm so frustrated." Like you were
Yeah.
literally part of it, but while still watching. And every now and then we would kiss you, and that would just drive you even more crazy.
Mm.
And she got to a point where she was like kissing. She'd give you one kiss, and you'd be more turned on, and then she'd go, "That's all you get," and then she'd go back to me. Like she's played into it too. She did a pretty fucking good job. She was really sexy. Um, was there a sense, or is there a sense of power in it? Because I'm hearing you use words like submissive and
Mm.
degradation and humiliation, but was there a sense of power in it for you? Like there's power with the situation for you?
Occasionally, I think though a lot of because for me, what feels good is like a lot of the psychological play of it,
Hmm.
and it is kind of the story that I'm telling in my head, and like I
It's a
kind of
fantasy, yeah.
yeah, I create this narrative as I'm getting off of what's happening,
Hmm.
which may be a little bit extended from what the reality
That's what
actually
most
is.
fantasies are. It's like a story. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, my story that I'm telling myself is putting me in a submissive role because that is what turns me on the most.
Okay, next time let's try this. Do that again, and maybe we can just do this next time we see her. I'm curious if you do it from a place of power.
Mm.
Like, so you're talking more. And we've done this actually a few times. We've already done this, but we just haven't done it for like an entire day. But we've done it for little moments where you basically talk dirty for her and you're like, yeah, you're so lucky that I'm letting my man fuck you. Like, how does that feel taking my man's cock? Like, I'm being so
Yeah,
nice to you, letting you have my man. Like, I'm sharing. Like, it's like you're choosing to do it and you're almost getting a bit of power
mm.
out of it.
More of a
Almost,
control aspect. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really curious, like, if that turns you on. If you're like, yeah, and because you already do that quite a lot. When we just have normal sex with a woman, when I'm having sex with her, quite a few times you will be like, yeah, how does her pussy feel? It feels so good, doesn't it? It feels so fucking tight. Yeah, fuck her harder. Like, you are kind of getting off on that power a little bit.
Mm.
I'd love to see a day where you explore that more,
Mm.
like entirely. I think that'd be really fun. What other stuff have we done? We experimented with her recently, and we've done this with other girls, but I think she did probably the best job of her being dominant with you. And that was something that was on her bucket list. And we said, like, yeah, we'll definitely try that. And so I taught her a little bit and held her hand of like, how can she dominate you? And she got really fucking good at it. At one point, she
Mhm.
just took over, and I was like, whoa, I don't need to do anything anymore. She's just fucking going crazy on you.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
had like a strap on dildo, so she was like fucking you with that.
Yeah, I think ultimately a lot of what we do is just playing with lots of different dynamics,
Dynamics,
trying
yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
I think on the list is actually having both like two women dominate you. We haven't
We've never
actually
done that.
really.
I've never had both of you take the lead, yeah.
We did like a role reversal once with a girl who was petite and Asian and her name started with T, where I was dominant, I was instructing her, and you were
Oh, yeah, that
technically
was
more
hot.
submissive.
I remember
I had
that.
fun
That
doing
was
that.
fucking
We
hot.
haven't really done that, and that was probably the most dominant role I'd been in. It felt a lot more like a scene than a
Yeah, so
sex.
basically you're telling the other girl what to do to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. The girl that we're seeing now would happily do that.
That might be fun. We could do that
She
next
would
time.
love that, yeah. So you basically instruct her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I sort of meant with the power thing of like the cut queening fantasy is
Mm.
like you're just sitting there, but you get to say what to do. And you could do that with me too. So it's almost like this. You're the director of a scene
Mm.
because that's how I feel quite a lot. And I talked about that in my threesome guide, like how to have threesomes. I said you can kind of look at yourself as the director if you're the one that's taking charge. You look at yourself like a director. It's like you're getting to watch a porn scene, but you get to direct it because there's two people there. So you get to say, hey, try this. Hey, I want you to do this. Hey, do this. Hey, change positions. Yeah, I'd love to see you play around with that a little bit more. You be a director. And we should get her to do that. That'd be fucking hot.
Mm.
Like she tells us what she wants to see. You're basically saying what you want to see, what would turn you on as the director.
That'd be cool. Lots of ideas.
Yeah. So I feel like we covered most of the shit we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions about this shit or about our relationship in general, about how we manage, I mean, we didn't sit there and manage jealousy, but like
No.
how we processed jealousy so we could be at a place of peace.
We are going to do another video, as you said, on a bit more about our relationship and how it works and what are
The
the
dynamics and
rules, so to speak.
rules is yeah. It's not even rules, but that's a good way of
Expectations.
saying it. Yeah, like what we like,
Yeah.
boundaries, what we want. So yeah, leave a comment if you have any more questions. We'll happily go into this shit. We've talked about this stuff quite a lot, but I think again, as we said yesterday when we were in the bath, this shit is just so like it's what we do. It's what we've done for the last like 4 or so years, and it's evolved a lot. So we can do a video on how it's changed if you want, but it's so fucking just like day to day for us that I forget that sometimes, and like we don't talk about it. So if you guys do, if you are interested, if this stuff is interesting to you, you're like, holy shit, this is cool. Like we would happily talk about it. On top of that, if you would like coaching with any of this, if you would like some help, I offer $200 coaching calls. So you can sit down with me for half an hour or so, and I will go through all your shit and change your fucking life as much as I can in 30 minutes or
Only
an
for
hour.
people who haven't done a $200 call.
Yep, only if you've never done it before. What should these lovely people do, though, if they go, okay, that sounds good, but I want to fucking get in there and just change my goddamn life. I want to go all in, baby. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to fucking make a difference in my life and other people's lives. What should these lovely people do?
Go out there and crush your goals.
No, what the fuck are you talking about? No, they should sign up for the coaching program.
Oh, that too. Well, I thought you were doing like
Fuck, that was like
finish
the
up.
perfect. I threw you like the perfect segue.
Well, yeah.
It's like, here's the segue, and you're just like,
you already
foul
said,
ball.
you already said that though. You already said he hit you up for coaching, but yes.
No, the proper coaching. The
12
12-week
okay, like
program,
coaching.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah. No, that's gonna.
Fumbled the ball right at the fucking goal line.
Well, if you want this
You
and
face planted right when you're about to do a touchdown.
this relationship dynamic and lots of hot threesomes, and you want it now, then Andy will help you get that.
With my amazing 12-week coaching program, I will leave a link in the description to that.
Also,
now you can.
How much better is my single sticker than your chaos stickers?
This.
My little cat that's making this. Ah! My cat, and it's making this face. Going.